Hey guys, this is Uri Peleg making my first video for Upswing Poker. In this video, we're going to view a hand that was played on high stakes poker, where Daniel Negreanu runs a big overbet bluff. But in this specific video, we're actually only going to look at the Preflop play, and we're going to talk about how we can exploit each player based on a single decision that they made. Now, why am I making a video with Upswing and why am I making this video? Well, I'm very excited to announce that me and Upswing are cooperating on making an advanced cash game course about exploitative cash game strategies that's coming out in roughly a month. Dream come true for me. I've always, whenever I was watching videos as I was coming up in poker, I always felt like I had a different approach to learning and a different approach to teaching than most of the videos out there, and this course is my first opportunity to show that in an organized way. So really excited about that, and let's dive into the video.
When the phone rang at my house, I thought it was someone I owed money to.
Negreanu, 6-4 diamonds raises to 1600.
Do you notice what's happened here?
What?
Meatloaf has left the building.
Oh no, like a bat out of hell, he's gone.
How soon they forget.
This is the game with a one big blind ante. The blinds are 200, 400. So Daniel Negreanu is opening 4x. He's opening from the hijack with 6-4 of diamonds. And this is a mistake. Daniel is opening too wide. I'd even say way too wide, like 6-4 suited. In this structure, opening 4x shouldn't be opened from the cutoff, and I wouldn't be shocked if it shouldn't be opened from the button either. A lot of guys, if they saw something like this, they would be kind of mimicking an inner dialogue. They would be, okay, well, Daniel is making pre-flop mistakes. That's great for me. I have my pre-flop charts memorized. So I'm going to make more money than him. Maybe I'm a better player than him. Maybe you think that, maybe not. But it's like, yeah, he's making a mistake. All I need to do is keep playing correctly and everything's fine. The truth is that if all you do is play GTO and Daniel opens 6-4 suited, you're not having an edge with any significance based on this. Because 6-4 suited, yeah, 6-4 suited is too wide, but 6-5 suited is fine, and maybe 9-7 or 10-8 suited, like one of those is probably a borderline hand. And 6-4 suited, it's worse than those hands clearly, but it's not that much worse. This isn't like ace king versus ace queen or jacks versus aces. It's a little bit worse. Hands in poker, you can kind of chunk them up, divide them into chunks, and the top hands have very high differences in quality between them. But later on, ace 4 off and ace 5 off are relatively the same. King 8 off and king 7 off are relatively the same. Sure, one is a bit better than the other, but it's not a very significant difference. And if all you do is play GTO, you're not really taking advantage of Daniel's mistake here in any significant way. Now, a metaphor I like to use for this is a boxing metaphor. Imagine that you're fighting someone and you have your battle stance. Your battle stance defends you from every angle. But you see he's clearly attacking you from the right. Like, this is not the most proficient, deceptive fighter. He's coming at you from your right side. No questions asked. Should you keep your left side defended? And I think the answer is clearly no, right? If you're fighting someone and he's attacking you from the right, you don't need to defend your left side. And then you can use that energy either to defend better or to counterattack. But if you play GTO, when Daniel's playing like this, you're kind of defending your left side that he's not attacking. You're doing something that's kind of... it's good practice to have the GTO stance. It's a good basic battle stance. You want to start out with a GTO stance before you know anything. But once you see your opponent, and invariably all our opponents are humans and they make mistakes, you want to deviate to gain a real edge. And here, a friend of mine had a really beautiful sentence. Playing GTO is what leads you to a draw, and I want to win. Okay, so how do we attempt to win by seeing Daniel raise 6-4 suited? What can we do about this mistake? I'm gonna pop up a few ranges for you guys. First off, in this game structure from the hijack, this is the range that Daniel is supposed to open. So as I was saying, 9-7 suited is in there, 4-5 suited is in there. So 6-4 suited would not be a big mistake on its own without an adjustment from anyone, but it's definitely far out. This is not Daniel making like a tiny mistake. And one of the things that you can do when you see a hand like 6-4 suited is you can extrapolate, right? So if Daniel's open, we'll start out assuming he's opening all the normal hands. And then when you see 6-4 suited, generally you're like, okay, he's definitely opening 7-5 and 8-6 and 9-7, right? He's probably opening 100% of Queen 8. Probably Queen Jack and Queen 10 go up to 100%. And then it's a question of how far you want to go. Do you want to add like 10-7, 9-6, Jack 7, Queen 7, which are, generally in pre-flop ranges, these are open to be 4-6-4 suited. Not necessarily, but this is depending how far you want to take this. And generally, while you could add more offsuit hands, I don't want to do this based on this little information, because some people just like suited connectors and suited gappers, and it's not about necessarily a strategic decision to open wider in a situation, but rather overvaluing a certain hand type. Some people like suited connected hands, and Daniel Negreanu is certainly one of these people. I think without a doubt, this is, the first small ball style. All this was playing suited connectors and suited gappers in these hands. Like, these are classic Daniel Negreanu hands. Here we have a 24% range, and I'm gonna put this to the side because I want to do this analysis in a more constructive way for you guys. So I'm actually gonna analyze this as though the ranges were normal 6-max ranges with no antes and with rake. So it's a little bit different than this, because I think that's more useful for the average viewer. But yeah, it's not going to be super different either way. So MP is raising something around this range. And this is 23% of hands, so similar to what Daniel was doing. Of course, this isn't a 4x size, and everything here is super different. But bear with me, because just to make the analysis useful, but the mistake is the same mistake. So if we see 6-4 suited, like I said, I'm not sure we want to increase the offsuit hands too much, but this is 23% of hands. We're certainly adding, suited hands and pocket pairs, all of these suited connectors in Jack 8, 9, 7, 8, 6, 7, 5, 6, 4, and kind of filling in all the suited stuff. And I think the next logical step would be, we think there might be more of the other suited stuff, but we're not sure. So we can put a weight on it to say, like, I think Daniel likes suited connected stuff because I saw a hand that's too wide. I don't know if is 6-4 suited the bottom of this range. And then just put, weights that seem reasonable to you guys. And we end up with something like 26.6% range here. 23, 26.6. Okay, the ranges are different, right? So we've recognized the mistake. Maybe we've even kind of sized up the mistake. But what do we do in practice to exploit this mistake, right? What do we change about our strategy? Because if we keep playing GTO, like I said, this is costing Daniel 0 money. He's having more fun at the table, so you could even say it's gaining him money, or at least some kind of live EV. Especially live games, playing more hands is more fun. So if you can do it in a harmless way, you should definitely do it. And if you're not adjusting to Daniel, I think the counterpoint to that would be that you guys should open to lose yourselves. So what do we do about this? So we have 26.6. Now, if you look at the cutoff opening range, cutoff is roughly 30% of hands. By the way, 6-4 suited is not really in there either. This 0.3 is just because the calculation was not run accurately enough. Usually all these kind of leftover 0.24, 0.3 just disappear when you calculate further. So if hijack opens 23 in theory, and cutoff opens 30 in theory, and we see Daniel opening right in the middle. The adjustment we want to be making is to play against Daniel when he opens the hijack, as though he's somewhere he's like half a position later, right? So if you have your strategy against the hijack, you have your strategy against the cutoff, you want to go in between. And of course, the assumption is Daniel's probably doing this always. So you're always like half a position looser against Daniel, with the assumption he's just adding too much suited stuff. So if he opens EP, you treat him probably like a hijack like half a cutoff. If he opens cutoff, he's probably opening a buttonish range in terms of, how many of these suited hands he's going to throw in. Because certainly, as he proceeds across positions, he's supposed to get looser, and he probably does. And what does this imply? So it implies, you're calling him wider, you're 3-betting him more, and even more importantly, post-flop, you are continuing in a different way against his c-bets, because when hijack c-bets, you continue tighter than when cutoff c-bets, both because of the hijack range, but also because your range is tighter. So once you start going looser range, you're also playing as though he's in a different position. And in this sense, the shift is very easy to make, because if you know how to play against different positions, you kind of shift him one down or half down like that. There are similar things to do. And the gain in win rate, once you start paying attention to these things, can add up very quickly, because even though these pre-flop shifts are not very dramatic decisions, they come up a lot. And you're suddenly, continuing hands that you would have folded before, and these hands are making you money. These kind of adjustments, when you're paying attention to them, I feel like they start making pre-flop. Pre-flop is solved in No Limit Hold'em. And I put quotation marks around solved on purpose, because the fact that pre-flop is solved makes a lot of people lazy about pre-flop, and they just stick to the charts and they feel safe with the charts. But there is an entire world hiding in pre-flop decisions. There is a huge edge to be gained in pre-flop decisions, both by spotting mistakes, but even against people who are playing GTO. Right now, we're just scratching the surface. We just started with the very first decision in the hand. Of course, Haltman calling Queen Jack off on the button is also too loose, and Brunson calling big blind with 9-8 offsuit is also too loose. And in the next video, we're going to keep going through this hand and seeing how much information and how much room for adjustment and deviating in your play you can gain by just watching this one single hand. So thanks to PokerGo for letting us use this clip. You guys can see new episodes of High Stakes Poker on Mondays on PokerGo, and you're also welcome to subscribe to their channel for more clips. Anyway, that's it for this first video. I'll see you guys in the next one, and in a few weeks, we'll start going through the course material more and show you guys what it's about. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.